beautiful people. Welcome back to the second hour of Lovebabz Love Talk. I'm Babz Rawls-Ivy, and as I told you in the last hour, I got the artistic heavy hitters in the house this morning. Good morning, Linda, Susan, Shaunda. Let me tell you a little bit about these dynamic women while they unmute themselves and get ready for this good conversation. Everybody unmute themselves. So listen, every year, City Gallery opens its doors to guest artists as part of its summer invitation. And this summer is no different. They've got some heavy hitters coming in today. And tomorrow the exhibit launches from August 5th to August 20th. And they'll be their work will be on display. And it is called Spaces Within. And it's Susan Clinard, who y'all all know is a contemporary American sculptor. And she does life-scale figurative sculptures, combine found objects, carved wood elements, and fired ceramic heads and hands. And I'm happy to have been gifted a piece of her sculpture. So I love her, adore her. I think she's hella talented. Holloway, I've known her since she was little. And and she is talented. I remember seeing her ride her bike all over town. She is an amazing rider. She did some work for Essence, of course, the Inner City News. And she is, in her own right, a strong and talented artist. And I've seen her curate some stuff around town, which has been incredible. And then Linda Walters Mickens, who is not only my friend and inspiration, but the mother of my sorority sister, who I adore, Karima Mickens, who was a town clerk in Hampton. But Linda is a sculptor and a collage artist. And I got to spend some time with her when she had her piece at the Creative Arts Workshop this past fall. And I have a bunch of the angels in the house. I've been showing this all week. I've been showing these.
Aww.
And every time I put my pennies together when she's somewhere, I buy one. But I've been gifted a couple of them already. So anyway, they are here this morning to talk about their exhibit, which is happening tomorrow. Tomorrow's the kickoff.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so tell me the story. Give me the tea. How did y'all get together and create this invitation for us to come and see your work?
Well, I had an invite to City Gallery and with Miss Kathy Kane. She is one of the collective owners of City Gallery's artist-owned gallery. So I was supposed to do a show in August, but having difficulty, she was finding artists. And I thought, wait a minute, I know artists. Susan and Shaunda. And that's how it started, with the three of us getting together, which is awesome.
So did you have a theme in mind, or did you just say come with all your best stuff?
We did not have a theme initially, but then collectively it came together. If that makes any sense to you.
I mean, I like it. I mean, I like the idea of it. So is this the first time? Well, I know it's not the first time that y'all have been in the same spaces exhibiting, but is this the first time that you've been intentionally collaborative for an exhibition?
First time.
Yes.
It's our first time, yes.
Because I saw the work Susan, you and Shaunda had over at the gallery, the Contemporary Gallery up on Trumbull Street. What is the name of that? The
Ely Center.
The Ely Center.
Yeah,
the Ely Center. And I saw your work there, and it was gorgeous. Okay, Susan, I don't know what you're doing. You can't.
Someone's bombing someone's calling in my thing. Sorry about that. You know what was beautiful? As soon as we started, we already knew there was a simpatico or beautiful connection in how we feel about others, care about community and ourselves, and caring for others and the materials we work with. It was actually one of those moments when artwork started to unwrap in the gallery. You started to feel the warmth of the wood that was present. Did all these different materials that were very clear in all three of our work. The other thing I noticed right away is that the works were all about others and our shared humanity, and really beautiful. It wasn't this like self-portrait number 2, self-portrait number 45. It was like, it was this beautiful, like, wow, the three of us, we care about people.
Yes.
We care about our.
I see it. I see it in every one of your pieces of work. So Shaunda, so talk about how you jumped into this then. And so tell me this, when y'all get invited to do an exhibition, do you create new work, or do you inventory the work that you have and say, oh, this might fit well into that? Or do you just go into making some new work?
Well, in my case, for this exhibition, I did a combination of incorporating older pieces and newer work. And as far as getting involved with this exhibition, it was a no-brainer. I mean, it got Susan and Linda. As you mentioned, I've experienced working with both of them before. This is the first time we've exhibited together. But Linda was one of the featured artists in the Seven Lenses show at SCSU in February. And
yes. That was such a great show, and a good use of that space.
Thank you. Yeah, so working with them is just amazing. And, it's working with people that you respect and admire. So, I mean, the minute I was invited, it was like I do whatever I had to do to be a part of it. So, yeah.
Oh, I love it. So when you do an exhibit, when you come to be invited to show some work, what is the thinking process? How do you think about what you're going to do? I want to hear how y'all do the work that you do. What's the inspiration? Where do you take inspiration from? And do you have inspiration block? Are there moments where you stare at a piece of material and you're like, I have no idea.
Definitely.
Yes, I think that's true for most artists. And there are times when there are blocks, and there are times when you're working on a piece and you can't figure out which way it's going, or you try to push it one way and it pushed back. Mm-hmm. So you have to, it's what I call art spirit. So it's like you have to listen to it, connect to it, and then you'll have this perfect flow. But, I've had pieces where I've done and I tried to bend it this way, and it's like something happens and I try again. And, after a while you listen and you hear. And and for me, I think the ladies were asking me, so what's the theme? What's the theme? And I thought, well, I really don't know about a theme, but this is what I'm working on. And then I think we said, okay, probably the other ladies figured out like, hey, well, let me figure out what I wanted to bring. And then it's sort of all connected to this theme of humanity. So that's what that was for me.
Oh, I like that, the theme of humanity. Because, in the last hour I was talking about, I have such an affinity for art spaces, galleries, art serving organizations, and libraries, because I think for me, they are really the portals to liberation and freedom. Absolutely. And I know of no freer people than artists. Like, I just don't know any freer people than artists. And so we are living in a time that is challenging us all in our humanity. And talk to me, each of you, about how that shows up in your work. Like how the moments of right now show up in your work, or if it shows up in your work. Shaunda?
That's a good question. That's a good question, and in some cases it shows up in my work in a way where some of the pieces that are not in the show, some small masks that I've done recently, I've used recycled materials, and so right now, with the climate change and environmentalism, I try to mention that without talking about it. And what I mean by that, letting the work, kind of suggest that we get it together. There's so many isms and asms in the world, but the asm that we care the least about, it seems collectively, is environmentalism. And that's very important to me. And I try to put that in there. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I like
As
that.
far as the humanity aspect of it, you know, one of the things that strike me about Linda's work and Susan's work is that acute sense of humanity and the sensitivity. And uh, in real life, you know, if you're sensitive, that's not always smiled upon. But when you go into a gallery and you see it, like, ah. So it really, I find both of their work so compelling for that reason. And I really connect to that because I believe that some of that exists in my work as well. So
I love it. I love it. Susan?
The image that one of our three images of all three of us are like beautifully, I don't know what, layered in the poster of the show, the invitation of the show. And maybe I just want to speak about the image of my piece that's in there, a series that I've been working on for maybe about 3 years now, just before pre-COVID. And it's called The Weight We Carry. And I have like a little mini paragraph because it's super, super important work in my mind because it connects us all. And I'll just read it real quick. Some are life size, some are small tabletop sculptures, but there are these figures that are where their limbs are elongated, and at the bottom of both either the hands and feet or just the feet are these just weighted masses of form. And I'll read the description just real quick. It says, "We are a patchwork of our family's stories and experiences and histories. These sculptures are a part of the Weight We Carry series, where I shed light on the hidden weight that we drag, pull, lift, and carry with us. It's based on the study of epigenetics and intergenerational trauma, which reveals how trauma can be passed down through generations in the way your genes work." And when I was first introduced to that concept, I thought my mind was going to blow open because it was something I was like, I already know this exists, but oh wait, there's a science that studies this, like for real. Like we, and descendants from slaves, from the Holocaust, you name it, or just having your mom who might have battled through like hardcore alcoholism, like all that, all those things are pushing down or going through generation in our genes. And I thought, shit, what would a sculptor like, sorry, like what would that look like to carry that? And I just find it a way that without using words, like Shaunda said so beautifully, art has that ability to not preach and scream at you. It's quiet. You take your time, you observe it, you take away from it something. I hope you take it home with you, you digest it a little bit, and maybe that image keeps popping up in your head. And like literature and music, like that goes a long way. The value of art and how it seeps into us, whether we're ready to fight it right away or just because no one's yelling at you. It is so powerful. And that's how I feel when I look at Shaunda's work and Linda's work. And it's a real honor to be with both of these wonderful women. Yeah.
And Linda, you want to speak to any of this?
Yes, just a little bit. I know that we all use recycled materials and found objects, which I thought is so awesome. And you'll see that when you look at this show at the gallery. So we do have this innate care for our environment. So I just wanted to say that. My art, I think it deals with like all of those issues, those things that pull at my heartstrings, that in this day of cancel culture, I want to make sure that I do not cancel culture. So sometimes some of my objects or some of my pieces may be in your face that way. But I think also, making this art, you want to push for some change, some hopefully that you can make this life a little bit better, that people can see things maybe they didn't understand or know. So yeah, all of that. All that plus, what everyone else said as well.
So how much time had y'all had together when you got this invitation? Like, when did they invite you to this? And then what happens after that? Like, once you get the invitation, how far in advance do you have to like get it together?
I can't remember, Susan. What was it? Like a couple weeks or?
It wasn't long, but
Yeah,
that's the beauty. That's the beauty of having a serendipitous and deep respect, like Shaunda was saying, of your fellow artists. It's like, oh, I know you work. This is a bit of a hustle, but in the end, not really, because the work is solid and we respect one another so dearly. So it was a little bit of a quick turnaround, but and a lot of people, summer exhibitions can be a little tricky because of summer holidays and everything, but hanging at Linda, right? It just kind of fell together beautifully, right?
Yes, it did. Yes.
I love that. I love that. All right, so talk to me a little bit about when this is over, do you move on to the next thing, or do you go to the gallery and you see yourself and you're like, you know what, I need to work on that a little bit more, or there's an adjoining piece that should happen with this, or like when you see your work out of your hands, so to speak, what is that like, and what do you think?
For me, I could say for me is that I am never satisfied with my work, not ever. So I'm always thinking, oh, that could be a little bit better. Oh, you should have done that. And then as well, oh, I could add this or show this in a different light or a different way than I'm showing it today. So you may add a piece, take away a piece, create a new piece for it. So it's always evolving. And
so the only way it's final is if somebody buys it and takes it out of your hands. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's it.
So that you can't mess with it anymore. Like,
well, I don't mess with it. Once I'm done, but I'm not happy with it. I'm never like saying, oh, that's a great piece and I love it. That never happens for me. And I'm not sure if the other ladies will do it.
So Susan, is that an artist thing? Like, is that unique to artists? Like, I'm never quite happy with what I've done. You know what I mean? Like, you could always feel
I hear that from a lot of fellow artists. If I go back 27, 25 years and see some of my early work, I kind of cringe. I get the like, I can't believe I put that out in the world.
Yes.
But I was like, you know what? This is life. Like any other vocation where there's evolution and change, and we grow and we learn what works and what does not work. Like, why can't we evolve like any other vocation? Like, that's how it is. And so I'm less critical with myself in that regard. There's probably like 4 or 5 pieces that I put in this exhibition that's not for sale. And the reason why it's not for sale is one of the pieces, the ribbon carrier, I hope, that has like over 600 ribbons of wishes, which Babz, I know you added your voice to. Or I hope to travel around New Haven where more people can add their longings, their desires. But the other ones are pieces that I took from various sculptures and reassembled them to tell a new story. So I can't necessarily sell it, not because I don't like it, but because, someday I might want to exhibit the original one where I took that hand from that piece and I added to this. I like it's like a puzzle piece, and you want to, with every exhibition, you also want to show fresh, new things. You don't want to keep showing the same work where people are like, oh, it's that lady again. I've seen her stuff.
And Shaunda, do you ever feel like a piece is finished?
Well, you know what? That's a multi-layered answer. And so, like, as a printmaker, you can go back into a print a number of times, right? And so that's the beautiful thing about printmaking, is that, there's so many layers and there's so much depth to it. But in terms of painting and other types of medium that I do, I have learned to be less eager to just hurry up and put something out in the world. In the beginning, I was so green. And like Susan said, I look back and I just cringe at some of the things that I put out. Oh, God. I'm just like, I can't believe I did that. But as you grow, you become more critical of your work so that you want it to be its best. And, so I'm grateful for maturing in that way. But I'm also able to say now that if there's a piece that I've created and I think, you know what, this piece is boss, and I can now own that. And I've come a long way to be able to do that. And I'm grateful for that. And also creatively, I'm not opposed to, say I've had a piece that I've had for 5 years, just changing one thing about it on this day. I'm okay with that. So long as as long as it's the right element, I'm cool with it. So I'm grateful for it. Art not only teaches you about, professionalism and things like that, and, how to display things, but it teaches you about yourself, how you mature, like be willing to edit yourself, little less this, little more of that. So
I like it.
yeah.
All right, so the exhibit opens tomorrow, and you'll have an artist talk at 5:30. Y'all will share some thoughts about how this work came to be. What do you hope people will think about this work? And as an artist, do you ever sort of think about what people see and how they will receive this work? I mean, do you think about that?
I think.
want them to see.
Okay.
Okay, somebody got to talk. Go ahead, Linda.
Okay, so I am hoping, every time I do a piece that I open to the public, I'm hoping that it hits them in the heart, because that's where I want my the direction of my work is for you to feel whatever it is that I'm projecting. I'm hoping that you feel that too. And most of the time that happens. So, so for me, that's what,
Okay.
yeah. Or heart, humanity. That's it.
I want people.
It could be other emotions too. So it's not just that, it could be, have pieces that evoke other emotions as well. But the most important is our humanity to each other. I mean, in these times, there is less humanity. So I would hope that it would teach us, or to bring some light on humanity, how we treat each other, how we see each other.
I like it. I like it. Okay. Shaunda?
Yeah. If people come in and see the work, I would like people to learn to trust what they walk away with. We could all show work to thousands of people, but they're all going to have their own perspective. And many times they ask artists, well, what were you thinking? Or this looks like this or that. And I recently showed a piece to someone, and what he got from it was like, wow, it's like that wasn't on my mind at all, but it was a beautiful concept, and it was so wonderful to see how other people think. So I just want people to walk away with, trusting their perspective, their imagination, and just appreciate the work, and their own thought processes.
Susan?
I mean, I echo both wonderful women. One thing I've noticed, having taught for so many years and then exhibiting a lot too, is that sometimes I'll get people come up and they'll say, well, I like it. I can't tell you why, or they think they have to have some PhD in art history or something. I'm like, I didn't even go to art school. Shut up. Like, if you feel something, like Linda said, if you are impacted in some way and you interpret it even differently than I intended, based on what Shaunda said, fine. That's what art is for. So if the viewer walks through and they're impacted, hopefully for in a stronger way, the way that we look at one another differently, the way we look at an issue, maybe with more compassion and sensitivities, and not just our own little bubble world, but of a greater view of our shared humanity, then man, what a great and beautiful gift to walk home with. I mean, it's an incredible thing to be an artist. Not easy, right, ladies? But whoa.
No.
Well, I mean, we've got some time to talk a little bit about the business of art, but who inspires you the most? Do y'all go to other art installations? Do you find yourself looking at other people's art, looking at other artists? I mean, how much of art consumes your life? Linda,
okay. I would say for me, maybe, I don't know, 50% right now of my life. But and I am inspired by other artists. Once in a while, I can get out and look at some art. But most of my art comes from a place that maybe something happens in our life, and you know, I feel a certain way about it. I want to put it in some other form. So right now, that's my inspiration. I'd say 45% of the time. So I do love that I'm able to, you know, sometimes I pull from artists, you know, the past, you know, so yeah, all of that. Yeah.
Susan?
I don't go out to see as much art as I probably should for many reasons. One, I'm doing too much and I want to take care of my own energy and spirit so I don't crumble down to the ground. Some days it feels I'm so exhausted. But the other reason is I'm careful of like trying to soak in other people's ideas and how they work. I want to try to access the most honest. And we all are influenced by so much. I mean, to say you're not influenced by other artists or even nature or anything is a bunch of crap. But, you know, if I'm constantly going to art shows and looking at what's the new thing that everyone's showing, and I'm like, well, maybe I should work more that way. No way. So you go into your special creative space, whether it be your studio, your mind, your heart, and you work from an honest place, which I can tell you right now, all three of us are genuinely those kind of artists. So music and nature, my family, my dear friends, they all inspire me. Just watching people push through this crazy life, that inspires me too.
Shaunda, do you want to add something to that?
Yeah, also what she said and also what Linda said. But I also want to add, I thrive on inspiration. If I'm not inspired, I'm not happy. And if I'm not happy, it's not a good thing. And so, you know, I'm constantly listening to music.
Yes.
So I go to galleries and you know, and like Susan said, you know, I'm just careful to make, you know, separating what theirs is theirs and what mine is mine in terms of like creating from an honest place, you know. You do want there to be a serious authenticity in your work. But in my heart and mind, art takes up about 70%, the other 30% is survival. But I would love it to be 100%.
I love it. All right, so let's shift a little bit. Art is a business. I mean, y'all are not just, I mean, you want people to buy some of your work because buying your work funds further art. How do you navigate these waters? Like, how do you, I mean, you think about how you price things, you have to buy materials, you have to move stuff, you have to, you know, probably hire people to do some other stuff for it or whatever. How do you manage the business of art making and art showing? Susan.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing battle. And the older I get, then I was like, oh shoot, I got to consider this now. But the hustle is very, very real. And one of these days I would love someone to do a documentary about following an artist, because it sounds melodramatic, but it's actually really intelligent idea to follow an artist through the everyday. Not just going in and making the work and putting it up in a show, which in and of itself is taxing and a lot of work. You got to hire people, like you said, Babs, sometimes for heavy stuff. The promotion, you have to learn how to write about you, like just all this stuff. But it is a grind. It is a grind. Right. It is a grind. It is a grind, like going to work, punching in and punching out. So when you price your work, I mean, that's also tricky because you have to try to compare who's working in a similar vein to you right now, how long they've been working, what are they selling their work for. If you've sold work in the past, like a piece for $500, you better not go lower than that, because the collector that has your piece for $500 doesn't want to know that your piece is devaluing. If anything, it's stable and it might hopefully go up. So there's so many weird things they're not weird, but there's a lot of things to consider. And then forget about it. Once a gallery scoops in and wants to take 80%, because right now in New York City, like if you're represented by a gallery in the city, they can take up to 80%. That's just a whole nother crap show, which actually kind of makes me nauseous. And it makes me think of, and I probably just deleted myself from ever being represented by a gallery in that regard, because I just opened my big fat mouth. But it is, I mean, there is a consumerism there that takes away so much from what I feel like goes in, the integrity and the heart that goes into the work, that kind of grosses me out. And now I'll shut up.
Well, we got like a minute. We got like a minute left. And thank you for that, Susan, because I think about that often. Because I see so many, there's something real about struggling artists. That's a real term. That's a real experience for people. And I think about that, and particularly in a place like New Haven that is really growing its artist community. So, but let me just remind people that the art exhibition is tomorrow. It's August 4th. No, does it start today?
It opens today, but the opening reception's tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay, so stuff is in the gallery today, but the reception is tomorrow, opening reception. So if you want to meet these three fabulous artists, Shaunda Holloway, Susan Clinard, and Linda Mickens, you would show up tomorrow at 5. They're going to be talking at 5:30. The reception goes on till 7, and the exhibition will be up until August 20th. Right? August 20th. So you got some time. And City Gallery is just off of a State Street. So it's within New Haven. It's 994 State Street. It's a little gallery next to a wine shop and some other stuff. And so it's right there. You could make a date of it. You could go eat and drink in the neighborhood and then make your way over to State Street to City Gallery. I so appreciate y'all coming on this morning. I appreciate you coming on. There it is, the invitation. So I'd like you to come. I would like you all to come back on so we can talk more about the business of art making and and the community of artists that you all find yourselves in. I'd like to have a larger conversation about that. So thank you for your time today, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Babs.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
We appreciate you very much.
Well, y'all know I'm your biggest fan, so I will be there tomorrow.
Yay!
I can't wait to see this work. So thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bab.
All right.
Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Have a good weekend. Thank you, Harry Droz, for all the support. And I will be back Monday. I don't know who's going to be on, but tune in. It'll be fun.
Awesome.
103.5 WNHH. I'm Babs Rose Ivy. This is Lovebabz Love Talk. I'll see y'all here in these streets.
Ooh.